We are live. All right, shalom, shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to my power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Quadash, and a sincere salutations to the Tabernacle of David, the hopeful elect, you Akim, pushing this truth to the four corners of the earth in all truth, faith, and sincerity, and also a healthy shalom to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning. Lord's willing, today's camp be edifying. All right, so once again, I'm out here to prophesy against this wicked kingdom, okay, America, known in the scriptures as Babylon, Mystery Babylon, Uz, Nineveh, okay, amongst a few. And to prophesy, okay, meaning to say before. So I'm out here to tell America what's going to happen to it before it actually happens, man. All right? And ultimately, we know through Bible prophecy that America, Babylon the Great, is going to be destroyed in the Third World War, or as the Bible calls it, the Third Woe. And that leads me to kind of what I wanted to talk about, because we've been seeing these ceasefires between Iran, all right, the United States, come and go, all right? And ultimately, we know that no matter what happens, if the ceasefire lasts is 2 weeks, a month, a year, ultimately, war is on the menu, all right? Because the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, has written it, okay? And as it is written, so shall it be done. And I wanted to touch on how the United States plans to bomb civilian energy infrastructure if current ceasefire breaks down. All right? Now, we know that this is against international law. It's breaking international law. Okay, it's against the Geneva Convention. All right? So these are drastic measures, because Trump, thinking that this was going to be, like I said, a heavyweight knockout in the first round, this is turning out to be what? A war of attrition. All right? This boxing match has moved from the first round to the second round. Now we're in the third round. All right? And this one punch knockout artist is getting tired. He's not used to being dragged to later rounds. All right? Well, these Iranians have planned for that. All right? They planned for this war since they saw the United States invade Iraq, Afghanistan, what they did to Gaddafi. All right? So they've been planning for this for 20, 30, 40 plus years, for America to make its move to come into Iran. Okay? So all this is gonna do is intensify the Iranians' hate for America, Babylon the Great, and invigorate their troops to fight harder. Okay? That's the only thing that's going to take place. And we always say that America is stuck between a rock and a hard place. They can't go backwards, okay, because they're going to look weak. So they can only go forward. And going forward is ultimately going to lead to their demise. All right? It's ultimately going to lead to their demise. So war is on the menu. Now, it's so beautiful because, you know, the decisions that this administration is making, a complete idiot can see that the decisions are detrimental to this empire, okay? But it's the Heavenly Father making them move the way that they're moving, okay? Whether they know it or not. This is Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 1. And it reads, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai." Now what's your heart, your lob, your mind, okay? It says, "As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will." Right. So the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, controls the minds of the kings of the earth. he has them to do their bid, to do his bidding. So that's why you see them making decisions that are detrimental to their empire and to ultimately their health. Okay, because it's going to bring about their destruction. Okay, and just to back this point up, let's get Job chapter 33 and verse 15, and it reads, in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, in slumbers upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men. Who is he? Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, okay? Our power. And sealeth their instruction, all right? So once you lie down and close your eyes, the Heavenly Father sealeth the instructions that he wants for you for that day, okay? As simple as that, all right? Precept must be upon precept to gain understanding, all right? So this is why you see these MAGA supporters burning their hats at all-time highs, okay? Cursing out Trump, wondering what is he doing, all right? They're calling him a madman because what? The Heavenly Father has him making these decisions, okay? And like I was saying, once the U.S. bombs, okay, civilian energy structure, which is against the Geneva Convention, and they're breaking international law, that's only going to make things worse for them, all right? That's only going to invigorate Iran. So real quick, I wanted to touch on how this war and, you know, this Strait of Hormuz, okay, ultimately is going to bring about the famine, okay, that the Bible speaks of, man. There's a plethora of scriptures that speaks about famine. And if you're watching and paying attention, you can put the puzzle pieces together and you can see how the Heavenly Father is going to bring about this famine on the earth, okay? So, real quick, I'm going to start out in Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 1, okay? And it reads, remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not. Right, what are the evil days? Bad times, okay? Bad times, all right? And times are bad. The love of many is waxing cold, okay? And I want to say it was either last month or the month before, or a couple weeks, man. Time flies so fast. There was multiple mass shootings in one day in the United States. And it was not televised, man. Okay? You had to go to, you know, alternative media or even BBC. But on the main news, they weren't televised. So everything is continuing to get worse. This world is continuing to get worse. America is continuing to get worse. All right? But you people are walking around with your head in the sand, man. And you're not going to pay attention to things until it's knocking at your doorstep. And by then, it's going to be too late. So it reads, remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Now, real quick, we're going to jump from there to 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter. And we're going to start at the 17th verse, all right? It reads, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Right. And that's the time that we're living in. All right. The beginning of more and more evils, more and more bad times, more and more homelessness. Okay. More and more job loss, more and more people being stretched thin. Okay. Them being at their wits' end. Okay. Trying to survive, working 2, 3, 4 jobs just to pay their standard bills, and they're basically just waiting for the straw that broke the camel's back. All right? Thus saith the Lord. So these are the evil times that the Heavenly Father is speaking about. Okay? To remember him before these times befall the earth. All right? So it says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars. All right? And this war, okay, between Iran and the United States is going to bring about a great famine. All right? You know, you go back to World War I, World War II, and during the times of the height of wars, food was scarce, man. Food was very scarce. Famine was in the region. Okay, and what's done in the past, all right, the same thing is going to happen in current present time. So real quick, I wanted to touch on how strategically important the Strait of Hormuz is. Now, we know that it's a major shipping lane, okay, for trade, for oil, and a plethora of other things. But this is what the experts are saying when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz being closed. All right, it says 30% of the world's fertilizer comes through the Strait of Hormuz. All right, if this is not available, the world will go into famine. All right, so 30% of the world's fertilizer travels through the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, and if you know anything about the fertilizer that we use, it's a synthetic fertilizer. Okay, so real quick, it says synthetic fertilizer, okay, or it says synthetic nitrogen fertilizers are heavily reliant on oil and gas, primarily using natural gas, which is methane, all right, to provide hydrogen for producing ammonia. Over 60% of natural gas used in this process acts as raw material, okay, while the rest provides energy for high pressure Haber-Bosch process. Okay, now let's go here. It says synthetic fertilizer is estimated to be responsible for sustaining approximately 40 to 50% of the global population. All right, so this synthetic fertilizer, okay, which 30% of it flows through the Strait of Hormuz, is responsible for up to 50%, okay, of the global population's food, agriculture, okay? It says it contributes to roughly 30 to 50% of crop yield, all right? It says increases and accounts for 2.1 to 2.4% of total global greenhouse gas emissions. All right, so this is how important this strait is when pertaining to food, man. When pertaining to food. All right, and a famine is coming. All right, because even if you were to open the strait today, all right, the time that it has been closed has still affected the supply chain. All right, you know, me and the brother, you know, Karaya, we're talking about it, man. these oil tankers, these cargo tankers, they move at the speed of a person riding a bike. All right? They're slow moving. So it takes months for them to get usually to their destinations. All right? So either way it goes, the supply chain is done, and we're gonna feel the repercussions of it. Okay? And so you can kind of look back to 2020 when we had that C-19er issue, and how ships were stuck out on the California ports, not being allowed to port, and how produce went bad, things got ruined, okay, for being out to sea for so long. All right, so that was a taste of it, okay, and I believe it was a test for things that are going to take place now. Okay, so real quick, this is let's grab Ezekiel chapter 5. And we're going to go verse... We'll start straight to the point at 15, 16. All right, we'll start at 15. It says, so it shall be a reproach and a taunt, an instruction and an astonishment unto the nations that are round about thee, when I shall execute judgments in thee in anger and in fury and in furious rebuke. All right? Because, hey, the Lord is angry at this world, but especially America, Babylon the Great, for ultimately touching the apple of his eye, his chosen people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay? And it reads, I, the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, have spoken it, when I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine, which shall be for their destruction, and which I will send to destroy you. And I will increase the famine upon you, and will break your staff of bread. Okay? And that's what the Heavenly Father is going to do, man. And we're witnessing in real time. All right? He's breaking the staff of bread. He's breaking the food supply chain. All right? You cutting off 30% of the world's fertilizer is going to bring about a tremendous famine. All right? So that's how important this Strait of Hormuz is to our food supply. All right? And people are just walking around every day with their head in the sand, acting as if everything is okay. All right? So the Heavenly Father is going to bring about famine, man. All right, back to 2nd Ezra 6, the 16th chapter, and I'm going to start at the 19th verse. It reads, behold, famine and plagues, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Right, these are all scourges of amendment, okay? These are all plagues that are well-deserved due to the behavior of you people. All right? Like I said, the sins of this place have reached the heavens. And the Heavenly Father is fed up, okay, with the behavior of the people. Okay? There's nothing new under the sun, just like in Noah's time. Okay? The Heavenly Father brought the flood. Because people, one, have forgotten about the Heavenly Father. Okay? They're over here serving false idols. Okay, they're in that YOLO spirit. You only live once. Okay, and people have forgot the power that we serve. Okay, Alashajah, okay? The terrible demon-like power, okay? What the nations refer to him as. Well, he's gonna bring you back to remembrance, okay? And there's no death like the death of famine. No death like the death of famine, man. Okay? Matter of fact, well, real quick, let me finish this out. It reads, but for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So even though all these things are taking place on the earth, your money is being devalued, rent is going up, your mortgage is going up, the price of food is going up, the price of gas is going up, okay? Even though they see all these things, and it's ultimately the Heavenly Father working, bringing about judgment, they're not gonna pay it any attention, okay? They're in the mindset that, oh, America will be made great again and everything is gonna turn around, all right? That's what these people believe. That's how society is. They're like, okay, hey, sometimes the world is up, sometimes the world is down, okay? It all depends on who's in that White House. That's their mindset, okay? Not knowing that it's not going back to what it used to be. It's only downhill from here. So it reads, but for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. It reads, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, okay? Victuals, food, man. And right now, even with inflation, food is still a reasonable price. You know, I was at I think it was Chick-fil-A the other day, and I bought just a parfait. Okay, you know, the little parfaits that they have with the yogurt and the blueberries, the strawberries, the mixed nuts, or whatever the case may be. And it was $4.99 plus tax. Damn near $6 for a little parfait. And not only that, when I opened it, only half the cup was full. All right? So not only do you have inflation, the devaluing of the dollar, and your money doesn't stretch as long as it used to be, but these corporations are using shrinkflation to give you less of the product in the bags. You know what I mean? You open a bag of chips, you buy a bag of chips for like $5 now. The bag looks like it's full to the brim, and when you open it, it was all air. Less than half the bag is full. All right, I know all of y'all can relate to that, but these are the times that we're in. All right, so it says, so like I said, even though, you know, victuals are somewhat cheap, all right, even though victuals are going up in price, they're still somewhat cheap. But people don't realize through this war, through the Strait of Hormuz being closed, it's only gonna further the rise of gas and the rise of victuals. So it says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in a good case. So like I said, even though things are going up, people still think things are okay because they're not to the point where they're so expensive where they can't purchase them. All right? But this is prophecy. The Heavenly Father is telling you about inflation, and then which is going to lead to hyperinflation. So it says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And that's what we're witnessing. Swords, famine, and great confusion. Okay? War after war after war. War after war after war. And it's getting to the point now where this third world's war is going to affect the home front. Okay? It's going to affect the home front. And this is exactly why the Heavenly Father says, remember thy Creator in the days of thy youth. Okay? Before these evil days take place. Okay? All these evil things that I'm reading about in 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter. All right? So real quick, this is Lamentations chapter 4. And verse 9. And it reads, Salakia. It reads, and I'm going to read this in the NLT. Lamentations chapter 4, and we're going to start at verse 9. It reads, those killed by the sword are better off than those who die in hunger. Right, and we always talk about how famine is a horrible, terrible way to die, man. You know, watching your body eat itself. It's a terrible way to die. All right, but that's a plague that the Heavenly Father has used many times before. It's an oldie but goodie. And war is the quickest way to bring about a global famine, okay, or a famine of epic proportion. Those killed by the sword are better off than those who die of hunger. Starving, they waste away for lack of food from the field. Right, you literally waste away. It was a story a while back where these parents neglected their daughter. All right, and she was you know, she had mental issues, and they left her. All right, in the guest house. I think they went on a trip or something of that sort. I don't remember the story to a T, but long story short, they left this. She was, I think she was like an adult at the time, but they left her to sit in her own feces, man. Okay, something happened where nobody was tending to her, and she ended up completely starving to death, wasting away in her own feces and things of that nature. So famine is a horrible way to die, man. It's a horrible way to die. You know, the brother Karai always says an oldie but goodie. So it reads, tender-hearted women have cooked their own children. They have eaten them to survive the siege. And that's coming back, man. Cannibalism. Cannibalism is coming back. All right? These Americans, man, have never even fasted before. You know, so used to 3 meals a day. But this war is going to change that. This war is going to make things so scarce to the point where neighbor is going to turn against neighbor. Okay, family member against family member. People are going to be kicking in their neighbors' doors just for victuals, man. Just for some type of food, some type of nourishment. All right, because when your stomach is touching your back, you'll do anything to quench that hunger or that thirst. All right. So this is, let's see if I have it. Baruch. Let's grab Baruch, because it's making me think of a story that's in Baruch. Baruch, where are we? Is it? This is Baruch, chapter 2, and from the top, chapter 2 from the top, it reads, therefore the Lord hath made good his word. And the Heavenly Father is making good his word. He's making great his word. All right? He's going to destroy America, Babylon the Great with missiles. But before that, he's going to bring about a famine. He's going to bring about a famine. And the majority of you Americans are going to starve to death. Thus saith the Lord. Thus saith the Lord. Before you're ultimately destroyed. Thus say the Lord. So once again, this is Baruch chapter 2 and verse 1. It reads, therefore the Lord hath made good his word. And the Heavenly Father always makes good his word. Just like in times past. He said that there was going to be a flood because the sins of the world was on high. And he brought about a flood. Okay? And how did he say he was going to destroy the world a second time around? Huh? Okay? With fire. With fire. And that's good old Paul Walker. He walked by the first time with the hush mouth. He came back by the second time and he just had to say something. All right? Because as these Edomites see their empire collapsing and crumbling, hey, they got to lash out. Okay? They have to lash out. So it's good that you Jakes are circumspect, man, because he's at his wit's end. So it reads, Baruch chapter 2, starting at verse 1. Therefore, the Lord hath made good his word, which he pronounced against us. And this was against Israel at the time. And against our judges that judged Yasharallah, and against our kings, and against our princes, and against the men of Israel and Judah, to bring upon us great plagues, such as never happened under the whole heaven, as it came to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things that were written in the law of Moses. Okay? So anytime the Lord chosen people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay, you Israelites, went against the Heavenly Father's commands, you were punished. Okay? Simple as that. If you were obedient, okay, you were blessed. And if you were disobedient, you were punished. And this is one of the punishments that befell us. All right? But now Sleazy E done picked up the book and claims to be the people. Therefore, all these curses, all right, are going to transfer to them, man. Deuteronomy 30 and 7. All right, that's what we're witnessing as this empire collapses. All the curses that were once upon us and our nation are shifting off of us and onto them. Okay? So it says, that a man, okay, let me start up. It says, according to the things that were written in the law of Moses, that a man should eat the flesh of his own son and the flesh of his own daughter. Moreover, he hath delivered them to be in subjection to all the kingdoms that are round about us, to be as a reproach and a desolation among all the people round about. All right? And the beautiful thing about that is that the Heavenly Father is changing that. Okay? Our captivity is coming to an end. Okay? We're no longer going to be in subjection to all these other nations, kings of the earth. All right? Our bid is almost up. Thus saith the Lord, Jehovah Ba'ashim Yahushua. And with our bid being up, their bid is just beginning. Okay? So it says, as a reproach and a desolation among all the people round about, where the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua has scattered us. Okay? So we are ultimately living in beautiful times, man. We're watching the downfall, okay, of our enemy. We're watching it in real time. So if you're paying attention, man, you should be joyful right now. So much so that when this devil walked past me, he has to say something. He has to open his mouth. And there's really no need for me to go back and forth with him. All right? Because he's not sparring with me. He's sparring with the ultimate power of the earth, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. And it ain't nothing they can say. There's nothing they can say or do, okay, to stop this destruction of their empire from happening. Okay? So this year marks the 250th year of this empire. Y'all better enjoy this celebration and party like it's the last one, all right? Because this place is through. This place is through, man. Completely through. This is Ecclesiasticus, chapter 10 and verse 8. And it reads, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. All right, so this is why this kingdom is being translated from one people to another. All right, all these ill-gotten gains, okay, how you acquired this land, how you can't help but rape, rob, plunder. It's in your DNA to require resources. You know, you're not coming to these other nations and sharing resources and trying to work together, all right, to make the world a better place. This is exactly what these BRICS nations are doing. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. You see these BRIC nations working together in unison, trying to make the East better, okay? In spite of the snares that the West is trying to throw at them, okay? So once again, Ecclesiastes 10 and verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So from there, we're going to go back to Ecclesiastes 12. All right. So it says, remember now in 1 from the top. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. And it reads, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves. And that's what's taking place right now. All right? All right? These upper echelon leaders and we know we call them fall guys, all right, are starting to tremble. Now, we know that this global famine, this war, and, you know, this extinction level event, so to speak, of billions of people is part of the elite's plan. All right, they want to decrease the world's population. You know, it was written on the Georgia Guidestones before they were mysteriously destroyed. All right, so we know that all these things are orchestrated. Okay, but ultimately it's the Lord's plan. All this is going to do is end this empire and bring about the everlasting empire, the kingdom of heaven, man. Okay? In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinding cease, because they are few. Right, and everybody on their grind while the grinding is ceasing, man. And, you know, it ain't no work out here. You know, all you hear about is people complaining. All you hear about is people complaining about trying to find a job, man. How they're filling out multiple applications just to get callbacks, saying that they went with somebody else. And I truly believe that a lot of these job openings are false openings, that they're not even looking for a position. It's just to keep the people asleep, you know? So it reads, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. And that's what's taking place. These people are seeing no future here. They're looking out the windows, and they used to see an American dream, man. All right? That's what they used to see. You know, all their possibilities possibly being manifested if they work hard enough. Okay? But people are losing hope. That's what they're doing. As this inflation sets in, as this Strait of Hormuz continues to stay closed, okay? Like I said, which is responsible for 30% of the world's fertilizer, they're seeing, when they look out the window, that the writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall for this empire. Okay? That's what they're seeing. It says, and the grinding cease because there are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and we're gonna be there soon, man. A lot of these businesses are already boarded up. All right, as this famine commences, as this dollar collapse, you're gonna see houses boarded up. All right. Not because there's a hurricane coming. You know, we're in Florida, so people be boarding up during hurricane season. It's going to be to keep marauders out, man. It's going to be to keep people from coming in and taking what little you have. And then when you run out, you're gonna go out to try to get what somebody else has just to survive. It reads. It says, and it reads, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music are brought low. And ultimately the daughters of music, you know, going into, you know, the mirth and the entertainment of this place, not sufficing. All right, that's one of the signs of a collapsing empire. All right, the bread and circus is starting to wear off. All right, the movies aren't the same, the music ain't the same. You know, everything is just, what's the saying, lackluster, so to speak. It's all lackluster because these elites know what time we're living in. There's no need to entertain y'all and distract y'all, because while y'all are looking over here, all right, they're working on schemes over here. And now that their new world order is coming to fruition, you know, the digital Slovakia. You know, the digital infrastructure is laid. Their data centers are built. They're ready to collapse this system. All right, and we always say, push the button, push the goddamn button. We're ready to move this thing to the next level. All right, because the sooner everything begins and takes place, all right, the sooner the kingdom of heaven will be ushered in. All right, now I want to touch on this article because with all these things that are befalling the earth, I wanted to show you how they're preparing for this collapse. They're preparing for this famine. All right, they're already prepared for what's to take place. So this is from Reuters. It reads, ICE to spend $38.3 billion on detention centers across United States. Document shows. All right, so Alligator, Alcatraz, and what was the other one called? Salaki, I can't think of the name. Something Depot. The Portion Depot or something along those lines. All right, so we got more of those on the way. All right, we got more of those on the way. It says, the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement plans to spend $38.3 billion By the end of the year, on detention centers to detain and process tens of thousands of immigrants stated for deportation, according to an overview of the plan. Salakia, my screen just went dim for no reason. Salakia. So it says, for deportation, according to an overview of the plan published by New Hampshire Governor Kelly Atkins' office on Thursday. So I'm going to read the key points. It says ICE plans to spend $38.3 billion this year on centers for detention processing. Now, the real question is, do you think these centers that they're getting ready to bring about are only for illegals? All right? Or is that the cover that they're using? And it's funny that they say that this is taking place this year, the same year where automatic selective service will take effect in the beginning or middle of December. All right? So automatic selective service, okay? That legislation that passed last year, December, which is making it so that men of military age are automatically signed up for the military. So like I said, all these things, there are no coincidences, man. I mean, you should be able to see the picture as clear as day. There are no coincidences. It says, plans call for 8 large detention centers, 16 regional processing centers. Detention budget rose to $45 billion from $3.4 billion. All right, no coincidences. No coincidences. It reads, ICE is launching a major $38+ billion expansion to create a new detention system. All right, notice it uses the word system. Okay, a system. Turning commercial warehouses, turning commercial warehouses into large-scale mega detention centers. Now, you remember a while back that it was a so-called conspiracy theory that they were using abandoned Walmarts, or Walmarts were going to be used to be converted into detention centers. And that was a big conspiracy theory for a long period of time. All right, until it came out to the public that that's what they were using. Okay, Walmarts were easily converted into the detention centers. All right, so this is a guise to bring about more detention centers under the American citizens' noses. All right, because Americans are going to be in those detention centers or concentration camps, whatever you want to call them. So it says turning commercial warehouses, and remember, it only took about 10 days. I want to say it was like 10 days, a week or 10 days, for them to set up Alligator Alcatraz at the time. All right, so they can set these things up in no time. So once again, it reads, ICE is launching a major $38+ billion expansion to create a new detention system, turning commercial warehouses into large-scale mega detention centers. The initiative seeks to create 24 new large and regional centers by late 2026, targeting over 100,000 total beds to support increased deportation efforts, according to reports in early 2026. So it reads, key details. It says, the plan includes 16 regional processing centers, 1,500 to 2,000 beds, and 8 large hub centers, 10 to 20,000 beds. Warehouse conversions. ICE has begun purchasing or seeking large industrial warehouses to quickly transform into detention facilities, man. You can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up, man. And you damn people are so stupid. You're pushing and forwarding this agenda, all right? Because you American citizens, okay, or specifically, mainly these Edomites have so much hate, all right, against illegals and ultimately against, the tribes. Even though the tribes do all the dirty jobs here, man. All the landscaping, all the roofing, all the painting, all the things that y'all really don't want to do. And it's so funny because all the things that y'all are cheering on is ultimately made for your own demise, man. It's made for your own fucking demise, man. I'm actually getting a little heated. But it's actually kind of beautiful because the Heavenly Father is destroying y'all, okay, with the weapons y'all have made, with the systems that y'all have put in place, all right, that y'all voted for, and all of it is going to be used for y'all, okay? So at the end of the day, it is what it is. It is what it is. And you best believe they're gonna have chipping stations set up in there too. All right? You best believe they're gonna have chipping stations set up in those detention centers. I did a lesson a couple months back how the war between the small hat, big nose people and those Palestinians, how they were having those Palestinians in detention centers, and they were using biometrics to keep them in prison, man. Okay, all the latest biometrics. So what do you think what's gonna happen, man? What do you think when all hell breaks loose and you're looking for salvation, you're looking for help, and you get carted into one of these detention centers, okay, or these camps? What do you think they're gonna have you put in your left hand, your right hand, or your forehead? Okay, Revelation chapter 13 and 16. All right, we're right on the cusp of all these things taking place. That's why you see us continue to hit these same talking points, okay? The MOTB is real big right now. All right? All the brothers are talking about it. And if they're not, they should be. These other camps don't really speak on the MOTB. For one reason or another. But it's getting to the point where everything is so evident that you can't deny it. Okay? There's no denying it now. What the mark of the beast is. And from here, we're gonna grab.
Hard for you. Like, it's not
We're gonna end it here. Salakia Akim. My screen has dimmed and it's hard for me to see it now. I don't know if it's the heat that's doing it or whatever the case may be. We're gonna end it here. All right, Isaiah. I could have sworn it was in 50, but I was off. Isaiah chapter 51 and verse 22. It reads, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and thy power that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again." So the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, has took this cup of trembling, okay? You know, all these curses that he put on us for being disobedient to him, all right? He's took that cup out of our hands, okay? Only through his tender mercies and through the remnant of his elect, man, that are doing their best to follow his laws, statutes, and commandments, and that have turned back to him, okay? That's what the Heavenly Father is doing. So he's taking that cup of trembling and all the turmoil and everything that they've put us through, okay? Now what does he say? "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and thy power that pleadeth the cause of his people, but I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again, but I will put it in the hand of them that afflicted you." So he's gonna put all the curses and everything that happened to us into the hands of those that afflicted us. Isn't that a righteous and fair power? That's a righteous and just God, isn't it? Damn, Paul Walker. I will put it in the hand of them that afflicted thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down, that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground, as the street to them that went over. Yeah, no more being your stepping stool, man. All right? The Heavenly Father has took these curses off of us and has put them on you. And all we have to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, man. And watch the fall of this wicked empire. All right? Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Plain and simple. So I'm going to end it there. All right? So with that being said, Lord's willing, today's camp was edifying. Once again, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to my power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakah Wadash. And a sincere salutations to the hopeful elect, the Tabernacle of David, you Akim, pushing his truth to the four corners of the earth in all truth, faith, and sincerity. And also a healthy shalom to the few Aqua that are listening and learning. Shalom Israel, Wa Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala. Shalom Israel, Shalom.